That's The Hop. Glenn Miller and the band. Ray Conniff wrote it and arranged it, and that's taken from a 1942 broadcast. Just to identify what's happening now, I'm Fred Hall, and this is Swing Thing. Lots of times in describing records, we'll refer to the tune as a riff tune. We asked Ray, who ought to know, who wrote so many of them, to explain just what that means.
I think the best way to describe it, when I was working with Bunny's, when I worked at that first band I told you about, the Dan Murphy's Musical Skippers, yeah, Cliff Lehman was playing drums in the band. And, in those days, we were really on a panic. We'd probably make $30 a week, something like that, for a salary, and live in real flea bag hotels. And so the guys, we'd room together, two guys together, to save money, So I was rooming with Cliff, and it was like The Odd Couple. I mean, there couldn't be two guys that were further apart than Cliff and I. How we got together, I don't know. I guess it was through musicianship, we each liked the way the other played, but it couldn't be two guys who were any different. Like Cliff, when the job was over at night, he would go out and he'd bawl, and I'd go to bed, and I'd be up the next day, and he'd sleep all day. Well, this one night we were in Kansas City, and we were on a real bad panic. We had been playing a circuit called the Arches Circuit, and suddenly there was no work, and we were in Kansas City. So we were only working about 1 or 2 nights a week. Well, he came home one night about 2 or 3 in the morning. He started shaking. He said, "Get up, get up." I said, "What are you, crazy? It's 3 o'clock in the morning. What do you mean get up?" He says, "You got to come with me. You got to hear something." I said, "Go to sleep. I want to sleep. Leave me alone." Well, anyway, he got me out, and he brought me to a place called the Reno Club. This is in Kansas City. And the band was Count Basie's band. And this is for Count Basie. Anybody knew who Count Basie was. And that was a real riff band. What they would do, and it was a tremendous experience. I never heard anything like that before, and he hadn't either, or none of us had. And what would happen, I used to go down every night after that with him, because it was like a musical education. They would job was supposed to start at 8 o'clock at night, and they would go till about 4 in the morning. And Count would come in probably about 9. It was a little place, very small, with a little postage stamp, and hostesses serving drinks, and a very small dance floor, very dark lights, smoke-filled room, very small bandstand. They had 4 brass, 4 reeds, and 3 or 4 rhythm. I can't remember. I can't remember if they had guitar or not.
Oh, I bet Freddie Green was there already. I think he's been at the Count forever.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, they were supposed to start around 8. Count would wander in about 9 o'clock and start playing all by himself on the blues chords, or Lady Be Good, or Honeysuckle Rose, some set of chords like that, And, he'd play about, 10 or 15 minutes. And they made the bandstand had a little door right in the middle, in the back, and the guys came in from a empty lot in the back. So after maybe about 10 minutes of just piano alone, Joe Jones would walk in and say, and he'd join in, And then maybe after about 10 minutes of piano and drums, Walter Page would walk in, and then I'm trying to remember if, I guess as you say, Eddie Green was with the band. Then they'd get the whole rhythm going, and Count would be still playing. He'd be playing now for about 20 or 30 minutes. And then Lester Young, one of the guys, one of the horns would come in, and then he'd play 3 or 4 choruses. So, he'd play for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then Lips Page was with the band. He'd come in and play for a while. So by 10 o'clock, they'd just still probably playing the one tune, 45 minutes or an hour. Then they'd have the whole band assembled, So then they'd start, like you say, riff tunes. But they didn't have anything written out. Like if they were playing to the chords of Lady Be Good, on the first ensemble chorus, one of the trumpet players would start a riff, like he'd play, and then the saxes would answer with another riff. The second time, when the first trumpet played that riff, the other 2 trumpets and the trombone would play with him in 4-part harmony. They would just fall right into it, just a simple riff. And the reeds would usually play a unison riff. And then they would play a whole chorus like that, and when the bridge comes, someone would play solo or a Count would play solo. And they'd play chorus after chorus that way with riffs and keep building it up and enlarging on it.
Must be how 1 O'Clock Jump developed.
Yeah, that's the way the 1 O'Clock Jump was one of the 2. You asked about the structure. They used to do tunes on the 12-bar blues phrase, or else they'd do a tune like, as I mentioned, on a tune with the standard 8 and 8, and then the bridge and the last 8, like Honeysuckle Rose or Lady Be Good. Almost all of their riff things were on one of those 3 tunes.